Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 update by Heerak for September 27, 2020. It's the beginning of the week, Sunday, um, and it's Ancestor Appreciation Day. As you know, I'm Korean American. I'm an immigrant to the United States from South Korea. I came with my family, my mom, my father, my two sisters. When my father received a call from a Korean Presbyterian church to be their senior pastor in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. And my father pastored in that church for decades and he retired. And now he's living in Delaware. After his retirement, he loves Delaware. Look at that. You're listening to sitar music from India. Um, India is number one in Asia. So the cases is not in USA, although there are a lot of Indians in United States, but that's a typo. It should be top COVID-19 cases in Asia. And India is number one. And they have 5,992,532 cases. That's a 2% rate. So they have 94,503 deaths so far. Yeah, they're hitting 400,000. Yeah. So there's a big discrepancy between India and rest of Asia, which is kind of strange. But India does have 1.2 billion people, so there are a lot more people who get infected. Although China, which also has 1.2 billion people, um, they really don't have that many deaths or cases. So it's an interesting thing. Bangladesh is number two, and they have 359,148 cases, 1% death rate. So they have 5,161 deaths so far. Um, Pakistan is number three, arch rival of India, and they have 310,275 cases. That's a 2% rate, which is similar to India. But their total death is at 6,457. Um, Philippines is at 304,226 cases. That's a 2% rate like India and Pakistan. Uh, they have 5,344 people dead so far. This music is so relaxing. I'm falling asleep. uh, yeah, Indonesia is number five. 275,213 cases. That's a 4% rate. Um, Hamza. Hamza is like, like kind of spread out like that. I guess it could be like that too. Hamza. Yeah. Big in the Middle East, especially Israel. Hamza. Um, Indonesia has 10,386 deaths so far. Yeah, it's pretty bad. All of these Asian countries, they all emphasize and value education. I guess, every parent wants their child educated. Um, so, I started a company, a learning center in New York. Um, yeah, and it did well. That's one cohort that's a SAT cohort. SAT exam is considered an entrance test for colleges. Um, so it's kind of like, Kaplan and Princeton Review. They have SAT classes. So my learning center also had SAT classes. and there were 10-week intensive classes. It's like SAT boot camp, and it was complete success. Students scored so high after that class. I mean, it was just people were driving from miles away, from New Jersey, New York, um, Connecticut. I had one student from Hopkins School. Hopkins School is a boarding school or private school in New Haven, Connecticut. So I had a student from Hopkins School who came to my SAT classes because he wanted to go to Yale University and he needed the SAT score. So yeah, I had a lot of students come to my SAT class. So there's one cohort there. Yeah, it ranges, from eighth grade to 12th grade. Yeah, there's some genius eighth graders who take SAT and get near perfect score, you know. So some start really young, like parents kind of, pay attention to that. Um, yeah, so among my students who are like models, students who are like amazing, and actresses, students who want to do well and academically also in their profession. Amy, she wanted to go to New York. What do you call that? Art school in New York, like film and theater art school. They, is it New York Stern? No, one of the schools in New York, NYU. Um, yeah, so it's for arts and acting. So Amy, she's from Randolph High School in New Jersey. She's really nice, very smart. Um, yeah, and we had one student whose father is like editor in chief of Korea Daily News, which is like the major newspaper in South Korea. Um, yeah, I told some really important families, children. Yeah. Next to that is um, Grace Cole. She went to the 7-year bachelor's in science and chemistry at College of Arts and Sciences and DMD, I guess it's DMD, Doctor of Dental Medicine at Penn Dental School. They have a 7-year program. So Grace Cole was accepted to that, and so she went. So she's also a Quaker, Penn Quaker. Quaker is like the mascot at University of Pennsylvania, as you know. I'm an alumnus of the University of Pennsylvania. I interview high school students who apply to the University of Pennsylvania. In fact, I got an email from admissions office at the University of Pennsylvania asking me to interview these students from this year to apply. And this year it's going to be 100% virtual interviews. So they asked me how many do I want to interview. So I told them I'll interview 10 for early decision, 15 for regular decision. I guess I could do more, but I mean, each interview takes like 30 minutes to an hour. So that's a lot of volunteer time. You don't get paid for doing interviews of high school seniors who apply to the University of Pennsylvania. I've interviewed students who apply to nursing school, students who apply for Wharton Business School bachelor's program, students who apply for engineering school, students who apply for arts and sciences. Um, yeah, so it's always interesting to hear their thoughts. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Early decision application deadline is November 1st. So if you haven't applied to the college yet and you don't know what's your first choice, I say go ahead and apply to University of Pennsylvania. It's worth going to if they admit you. Your chance of getting admitted is very, 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 very small because they have like what 30,000 plus people apply, and they offer admissions to less than 10%. So it's like COVID-19. 10% of Americans have antibodies, although antibodies might not defend you from COVID, according to Dr. Fauci, but about 10% of Americans have antibodies to COVID-19. But yeah, it's not the kind of antibodies that will protect you from next episode of COVID-19 because you could always get COVID again and again and again. as Dr. Fauci has expertly explained at Georgetown University when he was invited to speak. Um, yeah, and he's not that in other places as well. But yeah, my star students, they're like all becoming leaders all throughout the United States. Not all of them are American citizens. Some are green card holders. Some are like international students who do high school here, but their parents are in Korea. Um, yeah, and Grace Ko, her father, she's a green card holder, but her father is a Korean citizen. Uh, I guess he holds green card too. But he is in charge of Korea Miss Korea contest. He's like in charge for Miss Korea. Her father is a dentist, probably the most famous dentist in South Korea. Yeah, but he's kind of like Donald Trump, because he's like he heads the Korea Miss Korea contest in Korea, and the winner goes to, I guess, Miss Universe. Um, he's a nice guy, I like Grace Cool's mom and dad, very nice people. Um, and next to that is another student of mine, a athlete, swimmer. Um, yeah, I have all kinds of students, so I started this learning center from scratch. Um, it's like, you know, uh, I've never, I started a business, out of nowhere because I just felt like it. So I told my mom and dad I'm going to start this learning center, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, it can't be that hard." So I started, I started a company, found an accountant, and leased the building, and got it started. It was completely successful. Even before it officially opened, there are people knocking down the door to get into my classes. Because they know I'm like the Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century. So I understand. But what can I say? Um, yeah. So it's Sunday and it's still fairly early. So I guess the numbers are flowing in. Some days people send their numbers really late, because it's like a day off, people are at church or socializing with friends. I was driving today and there was a restaurant in Arlington and outdoor seating was completely packed. I mean, like, people were like sitting like sardines outdoors. And I was like, whoa, people are like desperate for restaurant food because they haven't had it for such a long time, I guess. I'm like, I don't know. That looks, there's so many people just sitting so closely together. No 6 inches of 6 feet apart. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I guess you take your own risk and, come what may, right? If you want to risk getting COVID while you sit like sardines outside in a restaurant eating the food, you have the right to take the risk. But obviously, private property can require you to wear a mask. But it's kind of hard to wear a mask if you are in a restaurant eating. you know, that's why yeah. Well, what can you say? Um, we have 204,750 people who died from COVID in America so far. 7,110,781 people have gotten COVID in America. Flu season is coming. Technically, it starts like around beginning of October. Although people say it can start like end of September. So COVID-19 flu season is coming. A lot of people are going to die from the flu. And a lot of people are going to obviously die from other things like mononucleosis, strep throat, sinus infection, RSV, respiratory viruses. Dr. Pepper, it tastes good. And it goes with sitar music. Um, yeah. So, what's going on in your neck of woods? Well, this is DC. it's only about 3 hours train ride from here to New York. Um, and New York is experiencing something wacky, downright wacky right now. And that is, a few days ago, they had a spike of COVID that hit 1,000. So New York has 1,000 new cases in one day. It's the first time since like June that they've experienced that. And it seems like New York is headed toward massive COVID-19 death. Flu season hasn't technically started, although it kind of starts like in beginning of October or end of September. So, but even before it technically officially started as a flu season, you're having COVID-19 proliferation in New York. So if you're a New Yorker, you should worry. Um, First article, it says health officials say COVID-19 rates growing at an alarming rate in Brooklyn and in Queens. Brooklyn and Queens, Brooklyn, that's where a lot of Orthodox Jews live. Queens, there's a lot of Koreans, Chinese, uh, Asians from India, Pakistanis, Filipinos, Indonesians. And there are a lot of Latinos everywhere, in Brooklyn and Queens. Um, yeah, it's sad. So that's news from today on CBS New York by staff. And the significant quote from that is the 8 neighborhoods account for nearly quarter of new cases, 25% of the new cases in the city over the last 2 weeks. So it's been rising for 2 weeks, but just 7% of the city's population. So there's a discrepancy in the number of cases, according to the health department. As you know, people live like sardines, in Queens. Uh, Queens is next to Bayside. Um, yeah, a lot of Koreans, a lot of Chinese, a lot of Asian Indians, Pakistanis. So it seems like a lot of people in those two neighborhoods are headed to COVID-19 death. They get packed into little apartments. How it's hard to avoid COVID-19 in that kind of setting, especially if you're moving around outside without a mask in the hallways, you get COVID, from your neighbors. Because you're technically supposed to be 6 feet away. How are you going to be 6 feet away in a narrow hallway, right? Yeah, so it's easier to get COVID, unfortunately. Um, yeah, so you see the lady Liberty there in New York behind her. And do you remember daily updates, COVID-19 updates by Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York with Democrat? That was day 100. Do you remember the tragedy that was happening in New York? Some of you may have forgotten already, but it was tragic. That tragedy is going to be compounded. It's going to be exponentially worse in the coming flu season because you have 6 months of it. New York basically suffered maybe a month, a little over a month. Most of the deaths were in April in New York. But now you're going to have death like in October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Yeah, so yeah, I'm predicting. I'm Heerak, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. I'm predicting that at least 1 million people will die in the state of New York. And I don't think I'm being, I think I'm being reasonable because there's so many people living in New York packed in. You had 30,000 die at the tail end of flu season in April. So let's say you have 30,000 on average in 6 months, you have 180,000 die. Obviously, it's going to be higher during peak flu season. And once hospitals run out of ventilators, ICU rooms, ICU beds, once nurses start dropping dead, and hospitals not admitting any more patients, you have exponential growth in death. So you count all of that in, I think over a million dying is more than possible. Um, yeah, COVID-19 is horrific, and it's coming for you, New York. It's coming for you, New York. It's coming for you, New York. Um, you gotta look with a magnifying glass, to see uh, where the COVID-19 is. You know, yeah. Because if you don't have magnifying glass, I mean, you gotta catch COVID-19 before it starts spreading everywhere. You know what I mean? It's like you need to shed light on your city, your town, so that you know where COVID-19 is, so it doesn't disappear on you. Because it's going to keep spreading, even if it's not. It doesn't look like it's there. It's there. It's a virus. Yeah, what can you do, right? Um, in a sense, it's like an emergency situation that we're in right now. Um, yeah, I mean, when you pass 1,000 cases per day in New York, there's no turning back. If you go up 1,000, yeah, there's only the COVID-19 death ahead of you, in flu season. So New York is looking at horrific few weeks, few months, 6 months to be exact. So the second article says New York reports 1,000 daily new COVID-19 cases for first time since June. By Cal Axelrod on the Hill. It was published yesterday. The quote is, the number of daily positive results has picked up in the Empire State in recent weeks, a trend that could be tied to the rise in business and school openings. Yeah, as I was telling you about the restaurant that's open, the people sitting like sardines, they're just asking for COVID-19 proliferation. And that was like in Arlington. Yeah, I'm worried about Arlington, with all these people like sitting like sardines in a restaurant eating without a mask on, yapping away. That's like COVID-19 waiting to happen. You got to put at least 6 feet between you guys. Now, well, you see underneath Dr. Cuomo, Albany, that's the seat of government in New York. But a lot of Orthodox Jews are getting COVID-19, and the communities are seeing outbreak after outbreak, Orthodox Jewish communities. So I thought I'll share my book with you, Jewish Law and Identity. The book is about Jewish law, and as you know, Orthodox Jews, they care about Jewish law. So if you want to understand Orthodox Jews better, Jewish law better, you could read this book. You can listen to it in an audiobook, but I would encourage you to get the paper version because there are a lot of footnotes, and sometimes what's written in the footnotes sheds significant light. So if you're a serious student of history, serious student of law, serious student of Judaism, or you want to know as much as you can, and I'll get the paper version. You can get that from like Amazon or Barnes and Noble. Yeah. But the third article, New York Hasidic Jews, three New York Hasidic Jews die of COVID-19 as cases in Orthodox communities now. That was written by Jacob Magid of the Times of Israel on September 27, 2020. And as you know, there was Rosh Hashanah, or Jewish New Year, 1 week ago. They celebrated from Friday to Sunday. So it was exactly 1 week ago when Rosh Hashanah celebration, 3-day celebration ended. And that's probably what's really driving the COVID-19, in Orthodox Jewish communities, these communal celebrations. Most likely during Christmas, you probably should not have a big Christmas party. You should just have it with your family unit that's living at your home has been living at your home, you gotta just socialize with your family unit, or you may end up dying from COVID. Um, yeah, you can't do one of these big Christmas dinners with all your relatives and friends and neighbors. You can't do that. Because Christmas time is only like what, halfway through the flu season, or even not even half. Flu season goes all the way till like April. So you have 4 months to go after Christmas. So you don't want to be like having big family Christmas because your half your family can die from COVID. Um, yeah, you don't want it to be the Christmas of COVID death, right? So you should start planning now for Christmas. And you should just have Christmas celebrations just with your family who's at home. That way you're not bringing anybody outside into your home. You're not going to anybody's home. You're just doing it at your home with your children. And if you're living with your parents now, you can have it with them. But I wouldn't bring strangers, not strangers, but like people who don't normally live in your home into your home for Christmas celebration or Thanksgiving celebration or for Halloween celebration. That's just asking for COVID-19 death. And you don't want to do that. And I mean, you do what you want, but I'm going to offer you a way not to die from COVID because I created this show. I'm Heerak, independent candidate for U.S. Congress and Virginia's 8th District. I created this show to save you and your children from COVID-19 death. So I'm going to give you advice that's conducive to saving you and your children from COVID-19 death. So yeah, I would recommend no Halloween parties, no Thanksgiving parties, no Christmas parties from now to Christmas. We're going to have horrific number of deaths. I'm here at Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress and Virginia's 8th District. And I'm predicting that we will have over 3 million Americans die in the flu season that's 6 months long. So you'll see large number of deaths even before Christmas. I think it'll be more like 20 million Americans who will die. I'm predicting that 100 million people will die in the world in the 6-month flu season. And since America is about 20% to 25% of the world's COVID-19 death rate, if 100 million people die in the world, there will be about 20 million or a little bit more death in America from COVID. So in the 6-month period, America will be reshaped and remade. You can't take your money with you. So if you're a billionaire or a millionaire who dies from COVID, well, that's the end of your life. I would encourage everybody to write out a will because there's high chance that you can die. Yeah, you should all write out a will, and you should prepare for your children because if you die and your wife dies, and your children are orphans, if they're under 18, they're like Amber Alert age, under 18. In which case, they'll be tracked into the foster care system. And there are some good foster parents, but there are nightmare stories from foster care. I mean, you can see this in evidence-based research. So if you should probably appoint a legal guardian for your children in the event that you and your wife both die from COVID-19, which can happen. I think that's a smart way to go. So write out your will for all your property and possessions. Included in your will, appointment of legal guardians to take care of your children if you and your wife pass. You should appoint like primary guardians, secondary guardians, tertiary guardians, because this is a COVID-19, so it's not like a car accident that killed two parents. Like if you see Heartland TV show reruns from Canada, it's a very good show. I like watching it. There's a foster child there whose mom and dad died from a car accident due to drunk driver. And these things happen. In, and she didn't have a legal guardian appointed, so she was like sent from foster care to foster care. Um, yeah, it's pretty sad. You don't want that to happen to your children, so you gotta designate who the legal guardian will be. I mean, you can make like a pact with your best friend, or with your brother or your cousin. You know, in the event you and your wife die, they will raise your children. In the event that your brother and his wife dies, you will raise their children. Make a pact. But you need to go to your lawyer and write all of this out. Obviously, different lawyers get paid differently. Some lawyers are very expensive, like $500 an hour. You can find lawyers who are cheaper. So, but call and see what the rates are for writing out a will. You can use your yellow pages. You can Google it on Google.com. You call the lawyer, ask how much it costs to write out a will. You go there with the data and have it, signed and notarized. Um, yeah, you just do that this week. I would encourage you to do it as soon as you can if you have children. Um, yeah, yeah, things are bad. Um, New York and New Jersey, it turns out they haven't missed anything. They're going to have massive number of deaths in the flu season. Um, I'm predicting minimum 1 million state of New York. Um, yeah, it's going to be bad. Um, and it's coming. It's going to be continuing for 6 months. 6 months. Don't believe the liberal media that makes it sound like, this is a passing fad. That's just a lie. Yeah, COVID-19 is here to stay, and it's going to kill a lot of people. Don't believe in the liberal media, which makes it sound like COVID-19 is just going away. It's not going to go away. No healthcare experts are saying it's going to go away. Healthcare experts are saying it's 365 days a year, and it's here forever. And even Dr. Fauci says COVID-19 vaccine will not work 100%. No one believes that it will work 100%. I believe that all COVID-19 vaccines will fail. Because how are you going to have vaccines when you haven't even identified all the strains? There are 40 strains, over 40 strains. They're constantly mutating and creating new strains of COVID-19. And they haven't identified all of them. How are you going to make a vaccine against all the strains that you haven't identified? It's like, shooting your machine gun at the forest wartime as a U.S. Marine, not knowing where the soldiers are, enemy soldiers are, enemy combatants. Are you going to hit even one? You see what I'm saying? You need to know where COVID-19 is, what it's doing, um, what areas COVID-19 attacks, and how and why, in order to create a vaccine that works. Scientists have not identified all the strains. Scientists can't even tell you in straight language what COVID-19 does, actually. They're all confused because COVID-19 is not confusing. It's a complex virus. So how are you going to develop a vaccine against a virus that is so complex? Even scientists cannot give you a straight answer on it. Yeah, all the vaccines are going to fail. That's my prediction. I'm Heerak Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia 8th District. And I tell you this because I care about your life. I march for your life. I want you to live. But I think if you put your hope on something that really is not going to happen, it's a fantasy. Like they don't know what all the strains of COVID-19 is, which means they're not going to have a working vaccine. They're not. So if you're putting all your hopes in a fake news item like vaccines, you're going to be sorely disappointed. It's not going to work. Worse than that, you may die from this. I'm glad that Dr. Fauci came out and said uh, COVID-19 vaccine will not work 100%. You still get COVID, even with vaccine. I'm glad he said that because that's science, that's a fact. There's no reason to lie to you, and I don't believe in fake news. There's no reason to lie to you and that tell you vaccine is going to make it all better. Because it's not. We've got to be honest and truthful, especially because your life is at stake, your children's life is at stake. There's no reason why healthcare experts should lie to you. As you know, I'm a certified nursing assistant, clinical nurse leader. I was certified nursing assistant, but I'm now, as you know, registered nurse RN in Washington D.C. and also the state of Virginia. My state of Virginia registered nurse license is a multi-state license that allows me to practice in many different states like Florida, Texas, Indiana, North Carolina, South Carolina, West Virginia. Yeah, a lot of like 30 states in America as a registered nurse. Yeah, so yeah, um, so I speak as an expert when I tell you the COVID-19 is going to take a lot of lives. As you know, I've been trained as clinical nurse leader, CNL, and my national certification as clinical nurse leader allows me to provide you with nursing education um, based on evidence-based research. That's one of the things that we're supposed to do as clinical nurse leaders, do evidence-based research and propagate the information for patient consumption and for public consumption to advance health. That's one of our missions as um, clinical nurse leaders and to improve healthcare delivery at the hospital unit level. And so, if you come to Virginia Hospital Center, that's, as you know, I'm a nurse, RN nurse at Virginia Hospital Center. So if you come to Virginia Hospital Center, maybe you'll be lucky enough to have me as your nurse, take care of you. Um, but all the nurses at Virginia Hospital Center, they're very, very good. They're amazing. So whoever takes care of you, you're very lucky because they are very nice. They know their stuff. Uh, so you're in good hands. But you'll be like the luckiest of the lucky if you get me as your nurse, obviously. So come to Virginia Hospital Center if you get diagnosed with COVID-19 or if you have trouble breathing or you have heart pain or if you get a stroke or you get a heartache. We'll take good care of you. And also, our mother and baby unit um, is one of the best in the country. Uh, like it's declared to be one of the best by Newsweek in 2020. So this is the most recent. So if you're pregnant, I would come to like Virginia Hospital Center to get regular checkups and have the baby delivered. Um, only the best for your baby, right? So yeah, we have a very good team in mother and baby. So I think you'll really enjoy having your child at Virginia Hospital Center. Um, yeah, New York right now is a big news item. New Jersey is spiking as well. So both New York and New Jersey are like the twins. When New York spikes, New Jersey spikes. So there's a lot of New Jersey people work in New York. So that makes sense. Um, yeah, it's going to be horrific in New York and New Jersey this winter. I'll give you, updates to keep you informed. I mean, if you're in Virginia's 8th district, you're here. But you may have relatives in like Brooklyn or Queens, who may die from COVID. So obviously, we're one country and we're all connected. As you know, I started a company in New York, Learning Center. So, a lot of my students are from New York area, New York and New Jersey and Connecticut. So, I have heart for them. I hope their parents won't die. I hope they don't die, obviously. But yeah, but it looks like a lot of people are going to die. At least 1 million people in New York State are going to die in COVID-19 flu season. 6 months. We're just beginning to enter it. So we have 6 long months of COVID-19 flu season. Everything is going to be closed. People are going to be dying left and right. You're going to get a phone call saying your friend died or your cousin died. You know, it's going to be horrific. Remember when I said in the summer, go to the beach and have fun because death is coming? I hope you listened to me and went to the beach and had a lot of fun with your children and family because death is coming. Yeah, the fun time here was in the summer. Now it's death time. This is time for death. This is 6 months of hell that is coming at you. So you have come down from heaven of the summer when you went to the beach with your family, and now you're entering hell. 6 months of hell. Um, as you know, I'm predicting that 10,000 nurses will die before Christmas 2020. We're headed there. I don't think there's a nurse in America who thinks that's impossible. I know that 100% of the nurses in America know that it's possible for nurses to die. A lot of nurses are worrying about COVID-19 death. Even now, they know this season, the second flu season, is going to be far worse than the first flu season. Virus has now mutated to infect young nurses, which really didn't happen that much in the first peak, which was March to May 2020. But during the summer, COVID-19 mutated and now it infects 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds in large numbers. So I'm calling this mutation the mutated version of the COVID-19 Florida virus. What that means is if you get COVID, you could die from COVID. That's what it means. Um, Obviously, in the summer, you're going to experience kind of milder form because it's summer. In the flu season, the same person who might have experienced milder form in the summer will experience uh, kind of a virulent or violent version in the winter, many of them. Some will die, some will survive. But you have to remember, if you get infected with COVID, you could die from COVID. So that's the dangerous news. And because nurses are healthcare experts, they understand that. And that's why there is not a single nurse in America who doubts that it is possible for 10,000 nurses to die before Christmas. Because COVID-19 is now infecting 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds. So in the first week, 20, 30-year-olds were working and they weren't really getting infected. Many of them. But now they are going to get infected. Many of them are going to die. And so it's very tragic. As you know, I graduated from a clinical nurse leader master's program at Georgetown University School of Nursing and Health Studies. It's a 2-year intensive program, 6 months. Fall semester, spring semester, summer semester. Fall semester, spring semester, summer semester. 6 months straight through, a full time, uh, 75 credits in the 2-year period. A very intense program. All of us considered it living hell for 2 years. It was so bad, so hard. But I learned a lot. And I think Georgetown University is #1 in the nation for clinical nurse leader program. So it was worth it. Professors are really great. They know their stuff. They're nice. We were really well trained. So it's like 2 years of boot camp. Yes, it was like 2 years of boot camp. It was that hard. Um, because I was paying like $100,000 a year, I borrowed $200,000 in 2 years. I wanted to get everything out of Georgetown that I could. So I ran for vice president of graduate student government and won. So I was the vice president of graduate student government. There are 9,000 graduate students. So I was vice president of graduate student government from May 2020. Oh no, September 2020 to May 2020, and I got a lot of things done. I've worked with Vice President Bosco, who's a Jesuit priest, to get a spiritual weekend, a Catholic spiritual weekend for graduate students at Georgetown. And so they haven't had a Catholic venue for their religious expression or to learn about religion as Catholics, to learn more about Catholicism, to socialize with other Catholic graduate students. So I worked with Vice President Bosco, who's a Jesuit priest at Georgetown, as the Vice President of Office of Missions, to create this opportunity for Georgetown University Catholic students. So I'm a hero to Catholic students at Georgetown because no one stuck their neck out, you know, like I did to get them what they needed, what they wanted in terms of Catholic socialization, social opportunities, religious opportunities, spiritual opportunities. You know, that's how much I care about the Catholic students at Georgetown. Um, yeah, so it's a Catholic university. Georgetown University is, and I think that every Catholic university student who's a Catholic at Georgetown University should have access to Catholic ministry, Catholic social opportunities. If they want to marry other Catholics, they should have the opportunity to do that. Meet, it's like singles opportunity to meet and marry other Catholics. I mean, everybody wants to find a woman, uh, they want to marry, right? If you're a guy, and Georgetown University should provide opportunities for Catholic men to meet Catholic women who value Catholicism and want to raise their children Catholic. That's where Heerak Christian Kim comes in. I'm going to do that for you because I know that's important to you. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. So if you're a Catholic student and you want to be nourished spiritually with Catholic dogma and Catholic catechism and Catholic theology, you should have the opportunity to access this on a weekly or daily level. Like if you want to join a Bible study group that teaches the Bible, discussing Catholic theology and Catholic dogma, you should have that opportunity to do so, whether it's Notre Dame University, which is a Catholic university, or Georgetown University, which is a Catholic university. And I, as the vice president, will fight to make sure that there are resources for you if you're a Catholic student. I'm going to make sure I fight for you. And that's what I did from May 2019 to 2020. That's why I am a hero to thousands of Catholic students at Georgetown University. Yes, because nobody fought for them like I have to get them access to Catholic social opportunities, Catholic religious opportunities, Catholic theological opportunities, Catholic spiritual opportunities, and Catholic in-group opportunities. I am going to make sure you're not going to be denied your birthright as a Catholic who was baptized in the Catholic Church and confirmed the Catholic Church to have all the access to Catholic resources that you want. And why do you think I'm a hero at Georgetown University? Because thousands of Catholic students went to Georgetown because it is Catholic. They want to be at a Catholic university that has Catholic values. And I'm going to fight for you and make sure that you have access to your cultural heritage, because Catholicism is a culture. Like if you're an Irish Catholic, there's an Irish Catholic cultural value and practice and traditions that you have the right to be a part of. Yeah, so I'm going to make sure I give you access to your past history, that you are supported in your Catholic uh, journey as someone who was born in a Catholic home, baptized in a Catholic church, confirmed in the Catholic church, and wants to marry a Catholic woman. I am there to ensure that you have the maximum opportunity to meet other Catholics who are a marriageable age. That's what graduate students do. They need to meet people to get married. You need to provide opportunities for them. And that's what I stuck my neck out for you Catholic students at Georgetown, so that you have access to other Catholic students who value Catholicism, want to raise their children Catholic, so that you can meet one of these people and get married. So it's not just about your growth as a Catholic, studying the Bible from a Catholic vantage point. I want you to have access to single people you can marry to form Catholic families. That's a part of the Catholic mission of the Jesuit priests I've emphasized the Jesuit priests, they have to make this part of their Jesuit mission to help Catholics find other Catholics to marry and form Catholic families. All these Catholic graduate students who come to Georgetown, they're like creme de la creme of the Catholic communities in America. They should be given opportunities to meet other creme de la creme Catholic children who have become graduate students at Georgetown so they can form Catholic families. Look at the Supreme Court Justice nomination. You have people like that at Georgetown. You know, she values her Catholic faith. There are women who are beautiful like her, smart like her, who want to form a nice Catholic family. We need to introduce smart, beautiful, devout Catholic, single women to smart, nice, bright Catholic men at Georgetown so that they can form brilliant Catholic families. That has to be part of the service that is provided by Georgetown University at an official level. And that has to be an official part of the mission of the Office of Mission and Ministry at Georgetown University. And that's what I told Vice President Bosco, who's a Catholic priest, who agrees with me. Because we need Catholics to form great Catholic families with other Catholics, right? We need to provide opportunities for Catholics to meet Catholics. They're not going to meet without the opportunities. And this has to be an important part of Notre Dame University ministry. It has to be an important part of Georgetown University ministry. You know, have free dinners for Catholic singles who value Catholicism, who want to marry Catholics. You've got to have these socialization opportunities just for people who want to develop Catholic families, you know? I mean, for God's sake, it's a Catholic university. You not only have the right to do so, you have a duty and obligation to do so. And so I have to kind of play the awakening Asian, the light unto the nations kind of a role to shed light on what is really important in Catholic University and for the future of the Catholic Church and for Catholic ministry, Catholic churches throughout America. What is the most important thing? You know, a lot of these Jesuits have forgotten, a lot of these Dominicans and Franciscans, LaSalle brothers, Notre Dame brothers have forgotten what is the most important thing for a Catholic university. It is to ensure that Catholic faith continues, that Catholics are able to marry other Catholics and form nice Catholic families. What is the most important thing? And so I come into the view and I help them realize what is the most important. And so as a vice president of Georgetown University Graduate Student Government, I'm happy that I took my initiative to make sure the needs of the Catholic students are met. Because why should Catholic students be second-class citizens in a Catholic university? That doesn't make sense. So I'm a hero to thousands of Georgetown Catholic students, graduate students, but also undergraduate Catholic students who value their Catholic identity, who value forming a Catholic family, having many Catholic children, uh, to, to be good Catholics, following the Bible. Um, yeah, we need to prioritize this in Catholic universities like Notre Dame, Georgetown University, Boston College, Loyola University in Chicago, Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, St. Joseph University in Philadelphia, Villanova University in Philadelphia, Fairfield University in Connecticut, University of Scranton in Pennsylvania. We need to prioritize these things. And so, in a sense, I consider myself the reformer of uh, modern Christianity, which has lost its way, not prioritizing forming of good Christian families, but they should. So I'm glad that I was able to serve Georgetown University as a vice president of graduate student government, meeting the needs of the voiceless. Catholic students who want Catholic opportunities who didn't have one. I became their voice. I became the wind beneath their wings. Like Betty Miller's song. I'm very happy that I fulfilled this role. I took the punches I needed to take to make sure I prioritize the Catholic faith, historic Christian faith at Georgetown University, become the voice of the Vatican, of the Supreme Pontiff Maximus, Pope Francis, speaking out on issues of abortion, standing with March for Life, speaking for the sacrament of holy matrimony, marriage between one man and one woman. I took all the punches for the Jesuit priests at Georgetown University, and they know that. Someone has to take the punches. I don't mind taking the punches for Jesus, for my fellow Christian brothers and sisters, so that they can have life, so that they could have a Christian marriage, so they can stand tall in a Christian university like Georgetown University and not be bullied and persecuted for their Vatican positions on marriage and abortion. So I took the punches. Just Google my name, Heerak Christian Kim. Just Google it and write down Georgetown. You'll read articles of how I took the punches, and I'm happy to take the punches. I will do it again. I will take the punches again for you, because that's the kind of leader I am. A true leader is willing to take the punches for you. Yeah, it's not just about um, power and glory. A true leader, a servant leader, is willing to be crucified for the body of Christ, for the followers of Christ, for the people of God. A true servant of God, a true servant leader, is willing to be whipped by Roman soldiers or soldiers of democracy who hate you because you say Jesus is the only way to truth and life. No one comes to the Father except through Jesus. A true servant leader in a democracy is willing to take the punches, take the whips from soldiers, policemen, to make sure that you receive the daily manna that you need to receive. And so I'm happy to be the servant leader because I came to serve and serve you and your needs, spiritual needs. So in order to do that, sometimes you have to take the punches. Sometimes you have to take the whips. And I'm happy to do it. So just Google my name, Heerak Christian Ken. Type in Georgetown University. There are always enemies of Christ wanting to whip you. There are always enemies of Christ wanting to sell you out for 30 shekels of silver. There are always wicked people who are going to strike you. You know, that's just what you're going to face, like Jesus faced, right? So, yeah, I mean, I'll do it again. I'll take the punches for you again. I have no problem with that because I'm your leader. As a servant leader, I'm happy to suffer in your place, the suffering that you may have or you should have. I'm willing to take that suffering upon myself publicly. I have no problem with that because I am a servant leader. I serve you and I lead you. It's Google my name, Heerak Christian Kim, Georgetown. Yeah, and just read about me. Because there are people out there who want to do you harm just because you're a Catholic who wants to follow the teachings of Jesus and emphasize marriage between man and a woman. They want to strike you, assault you. They want to get you fired from your job. They want to socially ostracize you. They want to take away your positions or titles. There are people like that in the United States of America. Wicked people who want to punish you just because you follow the Bible, teachings of Jesus. There are people like this. And as your servant leader, I'm happy to take the punches, take the whips, take the insults. I'm happy to do it. Because that's what being a leader is. Leader is not just receiving the glory. Leader is not just receiving the power. Leader is suffering for the people you are leading, like Jesus did. That is the biblical model of leadership, and that's why I am your leader. So you should vote for me on November 3rd, 2020. Write out my name, Heerak Christian Kim, for Virginia's 8th District for U.S. Congress. As you know, Virginia Governor Northam is trying to block me out of the ballot box. Um, he issued an executive order for stay at home on March 30th to June 10th, not making it illegal for me to collect signatures, and I needed to collect 1,000 signatures as an independent candidate. I became an independent in March. I didn't need to collect signatures when I was a Republican candidate from November 2019 to end of February 2020. But as soon as I became an independent, I needed to collect 1,000 signatures. Um, and you know, Virginia Governor Northam, um, you know, made it illegal for me to collect the signatures with a stay-at-home order. So I wrote to Virginia Department of Elections asking for a waiver of the 1,000 signatures. Um, and Chip Piper, commissioner, wrote back. You can see his letter in one of my tweets, saying he doesn't have legal authority to grant me the waiver. So I wrote to Governor Northam and waited for weeks for him to write me back and give me a waiver, since it's he, Governor Northam, who issued the stay-at-home order making it illegal for me to collect 1,000 signatures. That was in effect from March 30th to June 10th. And I had to submit the signatures by June 9th. So I waited and waited, and eventually I filed a lawsuit against Governor Northam and Department of Elections, Virginia Department of Elections, in Arlington Circuit Court on June 3rd. So I'm legit, I am legal, but because of COVID-19, the court process has slowed down. Well, judges are working from work, home, lawyers are working from home. So yeah, it's stuck in the Arlington Circuit Court system. But once it's ruled on, I'm sure my name will be on the ballot on June 3rd. But while that's happening, and because of COVID-19, we have early elections. Just write my name in, Heerak Christian Kim, for Virginia 8th District. I'm running against Don Beyer. Um, just write my name in, Heerak Christian Kim, and that'll count. Whether you're voting by absentee ballot or going in and voting early, just write my name in, Heerak Christian Kim. Make sure you spell it right, though. I'm happy to take the punches for you. As you know, my motto is bring America back to God. I believe that Catholic Christians have the right to follow Vatican positions on abortion and marriage between one man and one woman, um, which is the biblical position. I believe that Baptist Christians in Arlington, Alexandria Falls Church in Fairfax County uh, have the right to follow their Bible. Well, Bible has one position: you can't kill babies through abortion. Marriage is between one man and one wife, one man and one woman. So if you want to hold that position, I believe that you should not be fired for your position, that you should not be denied a position of influence, like as a Supreme Court justice, because of your faith. I don't believe that you should be persecuted for your Christian beliefs. And so I fight for you. Do you want do you want America to become a country where you cannot even believe the historic Christian faith? Because believing it can get you fired from your job. That's what the country is becoming, right? Look at all the insults the Democrats are throwing at the new U.S. Supreme Court nominee. Democrat senators are making it seem like it's a crime to be a Catholic in America. It's a crime to be a Bible-believing Baptist in America. Is that the America that you want? That's why you need to vote for me. Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia's 8th District, because I will fight for you. I will fight for your right to believe what you want, not be fired from your job, not to be demoted from your job, not to be denied positions of influence or power like being a Supreme Court justice just because you're a practicing Catholic or Bible-believing Baptist. You know, what is our country becoming? This is why I'm running for U.S. Congress, because I know these things are important to you, people in Virginia's 8th District. Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County. But these things are not important to Don Byer. Don Byer thinks you should be persecuted because you're Catholic. Don Byer thinks it's okay to deny somebody a seat in U.S. Supreme Court because they're Catholic who believe in Catholic value system, like marriage between one man and one woman, or they stand against abortion because it's murder. They believe that just because you follow the Bible and Bible's morality, you should not become a leader in America. Is that the America you want to live in? Is that the America you want to create? And that's why you're going to vote against Don Byer. That's why you're going to vote for me, Heerak Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. Because the America that you want is the America that I will create. The America that will persecute you and your children is the America that Don Byer is trying to create. Right? Just follow along in the U.S. Supreme Court confirmation hearings, right? These Democrats in U.S. Congress, Democrats in U.S. Senate, Democrats in Virginia state legislature, they want to make you suffer if you stand with your Christian value system or you stand as a Catholic person of faith. They want you to suffer. That's what they want you to do. They want you to suffer. Is that the America you want? No, that's why you got to vote against Don Byer. You got to vote for me, Heerak Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. That is the right thing to do. You know, America is meant to protect people like you who believe in the Vatican position on marriage and abortion. That's the America you have believed in. That's the America that you have fought for if you're a veteran living in Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County. That's the America that you want. And that's the America that I'm going to give you. And I'm going to protect for you and your children and your grandchildren and their children. And that's why you should vote for me. I'm Heerak Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. And I created this show to save you from COVID-19, your children from COVID-19, but other things that are happening as well at the same time. So what will you be if you are fired from your job or demoted from your job? Your children cannot become a Supreme Court justice just because they follow the Christian value system and believe in traditional Christian marriage, and they stand against killing the unborn. They're not allowed to become U.S. Supreme Court justice or other positions of power and influence. Is that what you want? Is that what you want America to become? That's why you're going to vote for me, Heerak Kim, because that's not the America you want America to become. Don Byer's America. You want America to be a place where you and your children are safe, believing in your Christian values. And I, Heerak Kim, will make America safe again for you, your children, your grandchildren. So vote for me for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District on November 3rd. If you're voting early, write my name in, Heerak Kim. Make sure you spell it correctly. Have it written down, a piece of paper and bring it to the ballot box and write it in if you're voting early. Yes, this is the America you want to create. America where you and your children, your grandchildren will be protected, believing in Christian values. Yes. I'm glad that you are able to join me today for this show. As you know, I created this show to save you and your children from COVID-19. So you should watch this show every day. Knowledge is power. Ultimately, you decide what you do, but you want all the information. And that's why you're going to watch this show. And I hope that, you will check in again tomorrow, watch this show, keep up to date with what's happening with COVID-19, everything else that is happening in America during COVID-19 pandemic. It's going to go on for 6 months. A flu season, this exponential growth of COVID-19 death. So it's especially important that you watch this show and keep up with what's happening. I will look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. I hope that you will be well and that your children will be well too. Bye.